He's kind of warding against first pick already by banning Ahri, who is one of Link's best champions. Using a ban on that is one of those COG almost fear bans where they got in a little bit of trouble yesterday because they used a fear ban on Nocturne, trying to give a champion or keep a champion out of the other team's hands when really COG's the team that wants it the most.
That Ahri, very top priority pick coming into the end of the season of the summer split, now banned out with that Kassadin. So an AP focus here coming out from CLG to Curse because that AP comp was the one that took out Dig very fast in the first game yesterday.
And this is another thing as well that touches on COG's fear. They banned away Zac, even though Curse, effectively they allowed Dignitas to pick it early multiple times in a row yesterday, which would almost tell you, I mean, if you're almost gambling a little bit with picks and bans here, because COG clearly is scared of Curse having Zac, but I feel like they could have left it through because Curse didn't have a high priority on it yesterday, and I almost doubt that their values would change drastically in less than 24 hours.
Well, looks like their values have not for their first pick because they do decide to go with Karthus. He gets all the way through, and I believe both globals are on that map right now. So TF can also be picked. Shen can be picked. We'll have to see what they decide to go with.
Yeah, there's a lot available for them right here. I would almost expect Nien to go with Shen here, and if not, just have Voyboy pick it. It seems to be a fairly high priority pick in this situation since we already have the Karthus on the table coming out so early. So COG doesn't have to worry about waiting really long to get their mid lane counter pick in any situation, which means they want to lock down the higher priority picks right now.
I know, calling myself out, I said if they put Voyboy on Shen at MLG, it was kind of not going to get him where, but then he was 5-0 pushing inhibitor turrets by himself, so it would be a huge pickup if they're able to grab that. But Nien says, nope, that goes to me, and they do actually get the Elise second pick as well for Big Fat.
Yeah, they just wanted to lock that one down. It's the jungle he has left. His Nocturne is gone. He plays a lot of Elise. After that, his Lee Sin yesterday was less than stellar.
They tried Sejuani in week 9, didn't work.
And getting the Elise right here is the smart picks for COG.
Coming up on Curse's side, we'll have to see what Edward is thinking as they do hover over a support. Still looking for what could be locked in. It actually goes down quite quick with the Nasus.
Yeah. It's interesting. Zyra's support has picked up an absurd amount of steam. And we were talking earlier about how teams aren't necessarily diving as well, and we were like, well, why is that? And I personally think it has a little bit to do with Zyra's support being so good at locking people down as they come in. And you need it more than ever for Curse, especially now that Cop is a larger threat on your team. And COG has already picked two fairly strong divers, so having Zyra with the Grasping Roots and the Stranglethorns to shut down those dives is just a smart pick at this juncture.
And with those dives, kind of speaking about that whole meta of diving, the 2v1s, we've seen more, I believe, equal lane matchups here, or swaps mid-game to adapt to those lane matchups.
Well, especially the TSM versus COG game yesterday. That was a long laning phase. No one was even thinking about turrets for the longest amount of time. And Zyra is strong in both of those scenarios.
Yeah, we'll see what they lock in for this. Cop having a very good play with Enchanted Crystal Arrows on Ashe. Doublelift, not so much. It didn't seem to play into his style whatsoever.
No, both of these guys played Ashe, and neither of them had great success with it, obviously, because they're now in the 5th, 6th place game. But Tristana right here for Doublelift, before Cop even picks his thing, he's had a lot of success on that champion. But it's actually been banned out fairly frequently against him. I'll be very curious to see how COG plays the laning phase and if they try to go with 1v2s or if they're planning on almost disrespecting Curse and taking Tristana straight into a 2v2.
It already spells late game, so if they did, I don't think they'd care. 2v2 all the way home. They keep that lane up forever. Looks like they are going to get the Jax lock in. The fight. Voyboy says he likes to fight.
Yeah.
So I think he can do it on the Grandmaster.
He tried going with Tryndamere yesterday. It didn't work out for him. But this time with Jax, Jax is something Voyboy's always loved to pick against Shen because it's one of the champions who can actually ramp high enough during an extended engage that he can beat Shen in late game 1v1s, which is actually fairly unique for most champions. And Voyboy, I remember way back in Season 1, the champion that he basically mained to get to rank 1 was Jax. And even though he's changed a whole lot since then, Voyboy will still remember that and think fondly of it. So I'd have to say he's probably the best Jax player in North America.
Like this from Curse, because yesterday when they tried the Kassadin Karthus, it was as Liquid said, attempted 35 times before that in practice. They made sure they had it played. And to bring something else out, I wonder if they practice this just as much, and we'll see it just as a definitive game.
Well, that'll be a lot of practice because they spent a whole bunch of games playing the Karthus Kassadin game. And then this is a whole new ball game almost for them. A whole bunch of damage this time for Curse with the Ashe Zyra utility. So that's something that COG didn't have yesterday when they ran Ashe Zyra. COG ran Ashe Zyra with a bunch of shields and utility on top of it. But this time, COG's almost went off the deep end with Protect the Doublelift because everyone can shield except for Big Fat LP. Shen, Orianna, and Lulu. Doublelift better get going in this game, otherwise COG is going to run out of damage. This is super throwback COG. Back to...
Yeah. The fights will be long.
They always go back
the games will be long. Like you said, the shield comp's coming in. Looking back over at Voyboy with that pick, just like Tryndamere, Ghost, Ignite. Not going for the Flash.
He actually doesn't like Flash that often. He loves being able to chase people down with Ghost because when Voyboy succeeds in games, it's generally because he's on his own sector of the map and chasing people down. So Flash is more about really precise, quick team fights, and that's not actually where Voyboy excels.
He always said to himself he loves being able to, have his own place up in the top lane, and then once he does his thing, the team says, yeah, we're ready for you. But until then, they almost know that they're not going to get any Voyboy until then.
Yeah, and Voyboy has been in these situations before. He was actually on CLG last PAX when they were trying to win their way in.
And qualified twice.
And he qualified twice for season 3 at that point. This is a tough one. I mean, we don't even touch on the history too much anymore, but Saint Vicious and Voyboy are both former members of CLG.
Yep.
Saint Vicious was on CLG in their starting days, and I think that experience that both Voy and Saint have had on CLG, and because there's such strong forces within Curse, these teams do have somewhat similar playstyles. That's one of the reasons both these teams have late-game focused team comps.
Here we are on to the Rift. Curse versus Counter Logic Gaming, and it always seems like those playstyles may change a bit for a while, but then they always go back to normal. Maybe a top laner might go to the jungle and then back. Who knows? Things happen.
A support will go to jungle and then AD carry and then I'll support. Good old
We'll see what they do for the first portion of this game. The personal line of scrimmage to be set up on the river, and really no wards look like they're going to be placed here unless Edward and Kopp go in late.
Yeah, that at least, this is showing a fair bit like COG's game against TSM, where they were saying, yeah, we're not going to invade. We're going to sit around in lane. And then TSM kind of did the same thing. And I wonder if Curse is taking a page out of TSM's book here, where COG kind of got beaten yesterday by being forced to make moves when they weren't comfortable for them. And if that's the case, COG is going to have to figure something out, because that did not work well against TSM.
The objective control of this weekend has really been a huge focus. The kind of laning phase, extra armor on the turrets is slowed down. Really not as much focus on the 3v1 dives because of it. So CLG not getting any of those objectives yesterday are going to have to focus big on that. And even with Saint grabbing Nasus on this one means they have a little bit more objective focus when that time comes for the ultimate.
Or at least be able to protect against, which is what they were able to do right now. They placed a ward in the river. Curse was actually planning a late 3-man invade onto COG's blue buff, but that is no longer the case. They've repelled that push. And Voyboy is actually playing a little defense on his blue as well, because for a fairly rare instance, neither team had a ward in the enemy jungle, which has actually become fairly common for the teams to get wards in the jungle.
We do see that CLG is taking consideration to any invades onto their red buff. We'll see if Nien gets any action. It looks like the lanes will match up evenly, so no invades coming through here. Orthodox jungle camps for the junglers. We're probably going to see ganks towards the top lane with the crowd control that they have.
Yeah, and I got to think of Curse as a team generally. Like, what makes them tick? What do we need to watch for them to win? And specifically this season, it's been, or even going back to the split, when Voyboy and Saint, they kind of tag teamed everyone. And when they were doing well, it was those two just dominating the game. This split, when they win, while Voyboy still has an impact, it's actually been Kopp who's kind of coming up as that second threat. It's actually very rarely Nijaki. So the things I want to track in this game as far as Curse is concerned is Voyboy's matchup against Nien, because if Nien can't shut him down, as, by the way, Shen is very good against Jackson lane early, so Nien should have a bit of an upper hand, at least keeping Voyboy down at the start. Nien needs to keep Voyboy down. And if somehow Nijaki could get anything going in this game, it would be a huge boon for Curse, because Link is, I'd have to say, probably the strongest individual laner on CLG. That's like, if Curse wins that matchup, it's almost like a bonus, and they're going to be able to take that a long ways.
So with that matchup, with Shen being able to win, are we going to see a Big Fat focus other lanes and allow that to just happen?
I'm not really sure what Big Fat's going to be doing, because he's had fairly erratic jungle play throughout these playoffs. The games against TSM, he pretty much picked one lane to gank and then tried to brute force it every couple of minutes when summoner spells were up. And immediately now you see he may have picked Voyboy's lane, because COG should identify that Voyboy's the focus. COG also has a lot of experience against Voyboy, and they have found some of his lane tendencies since many of them were on a team with him.
Coming up on a siege wave, Big Fat definitely not going to get the minion wave out in the middle anytime soon, so he may be wasting a little bit of time here on the buffs.
Yeah, this is a very strange time to be in lane and not show. I'd almost say his timing was off on that gank, because he could have been doing other things or showing in the lane to at least pressure Voyboy. Now he's revealed himself, so they might go for a dive as Voyboy's gone a little bit low.
Big Fat tries to take aggro with a quick Q. He jumps over. The repel goes up. The ignite is down.
Got
and so is Voyboy. First blood going over to CLG.
There's the focus and the brute force gank, and it's a good identification of COG to know they can go for Voyboy. And I'm thinking the reason Big Fat LP waited in that brush is the giant creep wave that Voyboy had at his turret. He was more willing to take a little accidental damage in order to farm, thinking that there wasn't a potential 2v1 dive coming, which he wouldn't have done if Big Fat LP had showed himself beforehand. Voyboy was at about half health before Big Fat LP even decided to show himself, and by that point, it was too late to escape.
A whole lot of patience coming up with a kill on that play. I came in thinking that they weren't going to get it.
Yeah, it seemed like it wasn't going to do
great.
much, because Big Fat LP was just sitting in a brush with the giant wave of Voyboy's turret, and we're like, you're not going to tower dive a Jax. That's usually a terrible idea. But the timing of it was just right.
Great aggro grab by Big Fat. He's actually still out and about. He has not decided to go back after that one assist. We do have a Warden's Mail already coming out for Nian here at 5 minutes into the game.
That is a very quick Warden's Mail. And Jax is so reliant on attack speed. His Relentless Assault passive is really the thing that gives him persistent threat within teamfights, even before level 6. Like Jax doesn't have the greatest ability to deal with that Doran Shield quite yet, because Voyboy's not doing base damage with his abilities yet. He's mainly reliant upon those auto attacks. And you can see Nian is just going to be able to bully him back for quite a while. Voyboy's going to have to recover this game.
And now looking around the map, we do see Cop going for the 3 Dorans once again, really solidifying the fact that he's going to be Ash Arrow utility as they move into this game. And at 6 minutes to have those, he's dumped about 1,200 gold there.
I mean,
more.
Genja is the other AD carry in the LCS over for Gambit Gaming that does triple Dorans. And Edward did used to be his support, so maybe there's a little bit of Russian influence on that item choice. Ash going triple Dorans is really playing for the lane and also general survivability. He knows COG is a little bit low on damage, and the double lift actually has a bit of strength on Tristana levels, I'd say 1 through 6, just based off of base damages from skills. So getting those triple Dorans is defending against a double lift straight up jump on, but I don't think it would save him if Elise gets a good gank off.
So with that first blood, a gold lead of 700 has been accrued here. You can see floating in the wing is Big Fat on the left side of your screen. He decides to go back into the jungle as he gets pinged away, actually, so Curse knew that he was there. Jackie not finding anyone in mid, because playing safe. Link is just on the backside near his turret.
Yeah, we haven't touched much on that mid lane, because it's the Link versus Nijaki extravaganza, one would say, but they're basically just farming. They have not tried to harass each other that much, and I'd say Nijaki is doing just fine on Karthus. Keeping it completely even with Link is what he's going for. Curse does not rely on Nijaki to carry them.
And this looks like it's going to be one of those extended laning phases again, heading down to the bottom. See where they're at. No damage on those turrets yet, so it's really the lane fighting going on, trying to bolster up Nian in that top lane. Saint's looking to put a little bit of threat on that right now, but he's only going to say, hey, back out of lane.
Yeah, he's going to say hello to Nian, but that was a very bad time to say hello.
Yeah.
Because he left his dragon door open right there, and COG is just able to go and take this. That was... It's good by COG. They're getting their objective control back, because they missed it entirely during that TSM game, and getting the first dragon actually extends their early game lead by quite a lot. They already had the first blood, which was 600. They are outlaning slightly thanks to Nian early advantage over Voyboy, and the dragon just adds on top of that.
You know, and that was really reminiscent of how TSM took them from CLG. Nobody was the wiser. They got in, got out, continuing the lane. They didn't even have to
Didn't
back.
even have to fight.
Nope. 1-0 on kills, 1-0 on dragons, and the turrets still stand. But that puts them, we'll just say, 2,000 gold in the lead at 8 minutes into the game.
And now I wonder how COG is going to continue playing. Because one of their Achilles heels throughout the season is they would actually get an edge like this, but then not know what to do with it and just be contented taking it to late game. And they end up losing a fair chunk of games doing that because they like playing reactively and waiting to see what the other team does. But when they're winning by this much this early, 2,000, they can actually start taking some proactive advantages.
They have the movement. Elise can have that lane gank to come into the bottom lane possibly as Big Fat starts to head down that way. Nijaki still trying to put a little bit of damage in onto, or Link trying to put damage onto Nijaki rather, as he gets aggressed out of lane. Forced to flash, so the next 5 minutes are going to be not very safe for him in that mid lane.
Yeah, that was an incredibly efficient gank. Saint and Jackie just walked at Link, and they managed to get his flash down. And it's a good thing Saint made something happen, because picking Nasus, who is, to me, the objective control jungler, and then to abandon Dragon in 8 minutes when Dragon is up, he needs to make up for that in some fashion. So he'll have to convert a kill onto Link soon.
Big Fat now in the bottom lane. That patented wait in the bush until the whole wave is pushed. But it doesn't look like they're going to bite. Backing up, Cop takes golems. These guys are trying to play it safe right now. That one kill, they don't want that to go any higher unless they're matching it. So at 10 minutes into the game, both teams with their hard hats on. Let's see what Link is doing in mid lane. He's grabbed up himself an Athene's.
Yeah.
Possibly in the end here because he's against that Karthus, not the Zed. Doesn't have to worry about a fast Sonya's for himself. 90-91 on CS. 78-50 in that lane you were talking about. Shen's going to have the upper hand, and they gave him a little bit of that snowball with the first blood.
Yeah, and we see this gold lead for COG is 1,700, but the gold lead in top lane alone is 1,100. So almost all of that advantage COG has from the early game is Nyen and the Dragon. Those two things alone. Because you look at the junglers, 80 carries, and mid laners, and you subtract that Dragon, or think about it, and they're pretty much even in lane. So Nyen has to turn it on in this game, and he's the one who's going to have to keep Voyboy shut down.
I want to see these guys fight in mid, but I don't think they're gonna. No need to lose a blue buff there for Jackie. He backs it up. Saint again towards the mid lane. It looks like it's going to be safe for Link. Big Fat heads toward top once more. Everybody is doing the right thing to evade any situation right now.
They're very content with these laning phases. I feel like Curse has...
We'll be in slow-mo if they go any slower.
They got a stronger... Yeah, that's true. They have a stronger late game across the board. Jax, Karthus, Nasus, and even Ashe are extreme scalers. But COG, if the right people get farmed, are COG. They don't play like they have the early game. They always play like they have the late game, and they have faith in their late game prowess, which is why they're contented just continuing to lane here. But maybe Curse is going to roam around and make something happen. But with all the wards in the river and the very straightforward roam paths that Nijaki has taken, he's really just giving Link time to farm the waves back and forth.
And Nijaki, as we've seen before, likes to go for that Catalyst and Tier build, which he hasn't actually picked up the Tier yet.
Might just go straight Rod of Ages.
He might just do the straight Rod of Ages.
So what that could potentially do for Curse, if Jackie can hit level 11, it gives him a little bit more punch out of that Requiem. Because so often when you see the Tier Catalyst Karthus build, it's like a little baby Requiem because he's using it at level 9, he's got the rank 1, and he's just doing that base damage, which is still pretty good, but not incredible. It's 250 there at rank 1, but it's nothing like a Rod of Ages very quickly and a level 11 Requiem, which might be what Curse goes for.
Nyen having such an advantage here. Stand United up for these guys now is pretty much the ultimates up for everybody on the map, even the supports as well. But now coming in with a chain vest and that Giant's belt almost finished up on his Sunfire cape is going to be able to just be a focus of soak up all the damage in these fights if they want another Dragon, or if they want another anything.
Yeah, Nyen is going to have a lot of ability to impact this game, and he's going to have to. I wonder what choice he's going to make here, because Voyboy's actually farming in pace with him, and he's actually decided to make something happen.
Ooh, Stranglethorns goes down. Will they be able to follow this? He's right onto Edward, trying to stay close. He knows he's going to get it. The Requiem comes out, and it's not going to be enough. That was Nyen coming out with the ultimate, too.
Yeah, and that was the rank 1 Requiem from Nijaki. He was still level 10. There was no kill opportunity. He was using that just to use it, and that was Nyen trying to make a play, not sitting in lane with Voyboy. Now the question is how much Voyboy gets back from that, and how much did Curse actually gain from that gank overall?
We'll have to see. That Voyboy Nien lane is one we are looking at a little bit, as well as Cop and Doublelift, our featured matchup of this one, which they did just get Doublelift that kill that they like to right in the beginning of the game to start his snowball as well. So we'll have to see where he takes that with Tristana having that U power curve towards the middle of the game.
Yeah, to explain that a little bit differently for Tristana, she has high base damages at the start of the game, which keeps her kind of actually strong in the early laning. But then because she doesn't have any AD ratios on spells like other guys like Graves would have, and because Tristana needs the attack speed scaling to come in with ranks and Q, and also the range to hit, Tristana is weak generally from levels, I'd say 8 through 13, depending on items as well. So Doublelift right now is close to his weakest part in the game, which is why that gank kill was so beneficial.
And he's got 1,600 gold on him, which means that's not obviously going to be a bloodthirster. The Tristana looking for that infinity edge damage so she can be that hyper carry in the late game. So with that 1,500 gold, he is just continuously farming in lane, waiting to go back. It's putting a hole in his pocket.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is a CLG versus Curse game. We mentioned that they had similar play styles, Riv, and how they do both have a strong late game composition, and they're not willing to just take it to that point. They're trying to obviously minimize mistakes, and I think that Curse really needs to get some kind of dragon control, because this is what CLG wasn't able to get earlier. Nien is top lane without his stand united, and Voyboy could make his way down. This could very well be a dangerous move by St. Fishes, because he's taken a lot of damage and his ultimate's ticking out. Curse are going to try to get this one, but at least might make it for a steal. No, they get it. Maybe a fight.
Oh, half health, HP off the command, shockwave, dissonance, Doublelift gets arrowed in the face. The jump was over the wall, so they can't continue. The flash, the repel. Saint's in range, but he does not want that.
The new Elise, the patched one, where you can't cheat that circle as he's going up to try to repel onto someone. They were all out of range by the time they made it to that. And COG couldn't chase him down. Curse gets an objective back, and Voyboy's catching up here.
Not that that flash hurts Big Fat too much, but it is definitely going to be something that would change his mind on a fight engagement. Saint staying out, staying alive, picking up his red buff before he goes back after a very nice dragon grab to even it up at 1-1 here at 15.5 minutes on dragons.
Nien needs to make an impact here. 1-0-1. Voyboy's slowly catching up, I feel like. And unless Nien can start bullying him out, it's not going to be a big deal. But you can already see how well Voyboy's trading back, despite all the defensive items that Nien's already gotten. It's 168 armor, Shen, but Jax actually does a lot of magic damage. And it means that Voyboy has a bit of a punch left if he's deciding to fight.
And Voyboy is able to grab the blue here. Nyjackie's saying, no, go ahead, take that. It'll help you in the top lane, and you can see that helping in the trade a little bit as well. That gold lead is only, actually, it's still around 2,000, so they have to get this one back. Those dragons are helping them oh so little, but still, we're now 16 minutes into the game without a turret.
Thinking it's going to be a little longer, too. Let's check out these turrets. We got the... They are all very healthy right now, Rib. I'm looking around, and there is actually not a turret on the map below half right now, except we know it's 16.5 minutes in, so as soon as one becomes exposed, it's going to go down. But that has just not been the objective of these guys. They both love the extended laning phase.
These are kind of the games I like, where you haven't seen all the power from everyone yet. Oh, Nyjackie can cut out. Big Fat does use the repel in range. There's the cocoon there, dives it past
nice,
it, hits him. One more, and it's going to be Big Fat coming out with the Q. They picked that one up.
And another Requiem.
Ooh, that was close.
Just a Requiem. Unless Voyboy could get on top of him faster with that teleport, it's not going to pay dividends.
So that turret was not grabbed in middle. They grabbed the kill for a turret. So Jackie going down there in favor of Curse.
Yeah, COG actually getting the kills here, but Curse taking the objectives, which is a tough trade. Nien's trying to get this one back. I believe he will because of the size of his minion wave. He's swinging away on Shen with his tiny little ninja swords. Voyboy's just coming up here for the farm. That trade, the damage has been done. I'd say CLG making some action happen and picking on Nyjackie is the smart move for them at this point, and I think overall they get the better of that trade.
Voyboy taking the high road, but then going low road after the turret goes down.
Didn't want to mess with Shen.
Still splitting themselves 3 lanes across. Doesn't seem like we're going to have too much aggression on one turret just yet. And Yen keeping a good focus in that top lane, making sure possibly getting that ward down. Let's see what they can do on Saint. Repel goes up. Big Fat comes down. He's trying to get some damage down.
Hello.
Be a nuisance.
Yeah, he's just saying hi.
Yep.
He's not really doing much. But what will be interesting is look at how focused COG is on this bottom lane. Look at all the pink wards Chester's placed in that lane. He's placed in the Tri-Brush, in the river. and in the brush he's sitting in right now, because they are absolutely concerned with Doublelift's farm and the ability to gank for his lane.
Oh, the dive in, but the Stranglethorn goes down. They both get out of it. It goes on to Edward. Doublelift gets himself out of that turret range in the end.
Going in.
Perfectly taking aggro. Cop, no chance to get a kill. Buster shot backwards. The volley wasn't enough. He gets the kill from the Vorpal Blade.
And in the mid lane, Link takes down another one. COG up 6-0 and kills Riv.
That was absolutely amazing, getting that kill, helping himself out. Also had the health or the lifesteal coming from the Vampiric Scepter. Such good gameplay coming in, and like you said, Jat, they set that up a few moves early.
Exactly, and this was the question we asked at the start of the game. Would CLG wait for Curse to do something, or will CLG take action themselves? And so far from Yen and the bottom lane of CLG, Chowster and Doublelift, the answer is that CLG is going for a play. They triple pink warded that bottom lane to set up that gank initially. Nien came in with them. They burned flashes aggressively, and it paid off. That's now 3 kills Doublelift has been involved with. Nien can take that gold back to shutting down Voyboy, and CLG has taken down the outer ring of Curse's turrets. All moves made by CLG, not reactively acted on by Curse.
CLG definitely having some talks with the team last night, figuring things out and what they needed to work on. Those have so far been capitalized on big time, especially at least engaging on the objectives. They have won, so does Curse, because that was just a good play by them. CLG with a huge engagement on that bottom lane, showing the 6-0 score is something they want to keep going, and they are acting on those advantages.
And Cop has actually went for a Bloodthirster Ashe, which is something we almost never see.
No.
You almost always... Can he steal that? No, he can't. You almost never see a Bloodthirster Ashe, because Infinity Edge works so well with her passive to get extra crits. Essentially, when Cop is going Bloodthirster, he is only volleying. He's not worried about his auto attacks whatsoever, but that is very strange. And it almost tells you that they are completely reliant upon Voyboy and Jackie to be in fights, and Cop is pure utility in kiting. That's the option that they're going for here.
Voyboy finishing up that Gunblade is going to allow him to stay in that fray a little bit longer, and you can already see that attack speed. That favorite sound of oh so many. He's going to take down this top turret for himself, hopefully get a little bit of gold, but this should mean the Dragon contest in that bottom half of the map.
Yeah, Voyboy's teleport isn't up in time for this Dragon. He's got another 60 seconds on his teleport, and this means CLG can take this. There is already a big gold advantage for CLG.
Yep.
They have already gotten every kill on the map, and Curse is just trying to counteract some objective control. We'll see if they can do it.
Infinity Edge built up onto Doublelift. You saw how fast that Dragon went down, along with all the other damage that they're bringing to the table. 190 CS for both Link and Doublelift coming in, 195 for Nyjack as he's kept himself in that lane. It shows that there's really been no roaming even to the Wraith camps for these guys. It's all about the lanes.
They're very much just far away. They land the arrow. Curse trying to make a play.
I think it's a little too far out, but Saint's actually still there. Throws down the throws down the Spirit Fire, I should say. Edward getting hit up by Command Shockwave in the dissonance. They are choosing to go in, but it looks like there is different communication for both teams on going in and not going in.
I really wonder what was going on there.
Yeah.
Because Cop arrowed early, and they may have been a little surprised when they saw all 4 members of CLG. It was like, I don't think we want to fight 4v4 right now, guys.
Saint does.
Maybe this arrow's... And Saint was like, all right, let's go. And they just decided not to, because CLG had disengage and a stronger team for it.
Well, it's a good thing they had Zyra. Throw it down, disengage Queen, get yourself out. Chowster and Saint Vicious. I don't think Chowster has a very good chance on this one. But if he goes down, he's still got the eye on his head. The exhaust used on that one. The Requiem coming in for a bit of an assist. Oh, no! It took a little too long, and he was able to find his friends in the jungle. See Saint backing off on that one. He's scratching his chin.
Yeah.
These chances that they need to get, CLG is thwarting perfectly.
I'd say that was still a pretty good play by Saint. He didn't have to burn
exhaust
ultimate.
out.
He just had to burn flash, and he got the Shen ult down, which has been a catalyst for COG's plays. A lot of Doublelift's successes came directly from Nien ulting down to that bottom lane, and knowing the standing out of this down may enable Curse to make some kind of play. One of the reasons I think Curse hasn't taken any action against COG is because Nien has had such an overwhelming impact on the presence of this game, where they know he is the strongest member of CLG right now. And if his Stand United is up, Curse knows anywhere they go, Nien is already there. And it's been, you know, it just dissuades them from making that choice.
So with kind of, the hybrid damage they're facing, more AP coming out from Jax here with his Hextech Gunblade. We see this Abyssal Scepter coming out from Orianna. Not something you usually see on her due to the range she has on her ball and the fact that you won't be shredding that MR.
Yeah, that's somewhat close range Orianna defense because Karthus likes to get close and personal when he's going for a fight. And also, if a fight doesn't break out here, and also, Voyboys went for the Hextech Gunblade, which is a slightly more magic damage heavy Jax, so he's still giving himself individual defense with that Abyssal Scepter on Orianna.
Helping out the team, trying to help himself. Good guy Link coming into play. Doesn't have Ahri, but still does what he can on Orianna. We got Spirit Golems coming out, Big Fat. I think we saw one game where he didn't have that. He built a Locket, I believe, and that is the only game he hasn't built that Golem. Coming out on St. Vicious as well. It really hasn't allowed them to do much or break into fights. Their tankiness has not been of any use with the laning phase continuing. It's somewhat broken, but Cop and Edward continuing it here in the mid lane for the AD carry support.
Yeah, this is getting a little bit... Oh, it's been scary for Curse for quite a while now because CLG is taking very liberal advantages right now, and they're just waiting for Doublelift to kind of hit his point, or I feel like CLG is going to go for a big play. There is a pickaxe currently picked up by Doublelift, and I think he's going to be going for a Last Whisper before he completes a Phantom Dancer. Since Doublelift has the 90% attack speed max from Rapid Fire right now, which is same as 3 recurve bows worth of attack speed, which is pretty damn impressive for him. COG just has total control of this, so they're able to pick their fights very cautiously. Nien's ultimate, which was used defensively, there hasn't been anything Curse has done in the interim while that cooldown is ticking to take anything back. Now Nien's ultimate is back again, so Curse is again stuck a little bit back.
Oh, shots fired from all the way in bottom lane. Will they be able to continue this? Unfortunately, it hits the one that can easily escape.
And it's a pretty tanky guy, too, with the huge amount of health Big Fat LP's already accumulated. Nice shot by Cobb.
That was great.
But there was no follow-up from Curse.
We'll have to see where they can continue this. That's obviously the initiation coming from Curse. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow, one of the only AD carries that can initiate for your team. But Nien, coming in with that Shen ultimate. The funny thing is they're going to have to do it a different way every time. With that happening in the bottom lane, Curse is ready for that. So they're going to have to do it even better next time. Right now, Saint getting caught out of position. The ultimate force had to know he was going down, but Edward thought Edward was going to get pulled into that one, but he disengages the fight as they lose St. Vicious.
Yeah, and you could see COG was content just taking one and getting out. Obviously, the Stranglethorns made it so they didn't want to go back in, but I've seen COG chase like that before. Red buff on Doublelift, extra slow utility coming out from Lulu, and then the Shockwave to finish everything off. COG was free to do whatever they wanted in that fight because Curse was not putting back any type of damage or threat to CLG.
Too far away from each other to defend, and a cluster of CLG members moving together. Their plays right now having so much confidence in them. 5,500 gold in the lead. A lot of that gold sitting on Orianna on Link, or Link on Orianna, and Nien on Shen.
Yeah, let's even take a look right back at that because that's 9,200 gold. CLG's got very close gold for their 3 priority people. 9,300 on Nien, 9,100 on Link, and 9,200 on Doublelift. They're very evenly distributing their gold, which overall for CLG I think is nice. They usually overcommit their gold onto Doublelift, and it becomes a bit of I'd say a liability sometimes.
Kind of like he doesn't have to farm after 45 minutes because he's already 6 items.
It's so easy to take him out, but in this case, it makes the options for Curse a lot more difficult. And COG, since they're so far ahead, has the flexibility to give the gold to multiple people.
That Zanya's really needs to be finished before Curse can go into a next fight. Nijaki trying to get there as soon as possible. He needs to be able to spread that fight as well as get Edward in there for the initiation. Once that's locked down, CLG doesn't have much. Like I said, it's the crazy initiation coming in with Nien, or if Big Fat can grab a nice cocoon just like that. Oh! I don't think that was supposed to happen.
Yeah, he managed to flash out of that one, and now Curse still can't go back at it. Cop is trying to refarm, but he went for the Bloodthirster build, so he's not a threat individually as an AD carry. COG's just going right back at it once again, takes down yet another turret.
Saint keeps getting caught out. He's presenting himself in these engagements at half HP. Yeah, he's going to be there and try and make an offensive push onto that turret, but with that many members of Counter Logic Gaming, he's been losing his HP, and the team's losing ground because now he's coming back from the base, and they're already starting on this 2nd tier turret in the top lane.
Yeah, this is Curse trying to get a split push going because Voyboy is actually level 17, so he's been farming pretty well at a good pace, but the rest of Curse is just falling very far behind what COG has accomplished. This is a little reminiscent of COG not doing anything yesterday against TSM, except this time Curse is playing that part of inaction.
CLG feeling the breeze on that one. The confidence, a little bit of a rush there. We could see the Whimsy going out, trying to speed up onto Big Fat there in the end, and Voyboy back and forth. Don't think they're going to go too much further than that turret range. Yeah,
but this just shows the strength of Voyboy in a 1v1
This is what you were talking about, that time where the attack speed cuts up over what Shen can do in that melee situation.
Yeah, and Nien even tried to go a little bit offensive with that Bilgewater Cutlass, but now Voyboy is straight up turret diving Nien. This is how strong Voyboy feels right now.
Voyboy going in very hard, no tank, no energy. No taunt coming in for Nien, but it's going to be enough to put the feint on! The kill's going to come out, and it goes red buff to the turret.
And Saint was pushing mid while COG pushed bottom, but Curse has got to get back to their base!
Oh, command shockwave repel! Beautiful job getting in on the Nijackie, but there's not enough damage to gap close. Finish under the turret. Cop without any mana trying to still push them away as Saint now pushing mid alone. Curse is just everywhere.
Curse trying to make as much happen as possible. There's a kill that gets picked up by the Requiem of Nijackie, gives them yet another one, and this strange amount of split pushing is actually paying off a bit for Curse.
A lot of damage on this mid turret. Saint's only got a few minions left, but that Q is going to help be able to take it down. Gets his team gold. And with losing those turrets, they weren't able to grab that second tier in the bottom lane. So that's 2 tiers they lost for 1.
Yeah, Saint Fitch's Q is actually a plus 225. Which is very high for a Nasus jungle at this point in the game. It increased his turret pushing potential pretty substantially right there. And that was a little bit out of the blue for Curse. I'd say all of that was started by Voyboy maybe just surprising COG when he basically turret dove Nien. Obviously Nien didn't lose much for that aside from his bounty bonus right back to Voyboy, but it forced COG into a very quick decision. And COG this game has made very good decisions when they're not pressured into them. But if they're forced into the decisions there, they made a slightly questionable one, giving up extra turrets.
And something we've said about Curse before, down in gold, they're still able to win fights. They can come out on top, just as we saw last game with TBD and Complexity, where TBD they were down in gold 10,000, but they'd get the 2v1s. They'd still get some kills. Curse able to do that as well. Here we see Nien back into lane. He's got himself that Blade of the Rune King all finished up with the rest of it. Looks like a Randuin's will come out next.
Close. Yeah, Cop is not close here.
Not what they wanted. He's on the other side of the map. The arrow up for that engagement. Keep an eye on that mini-map, but I don't think they're going to have too much on this turret unless it comes from Cop in the next few seconds.
COG would have an opportunity to go in pretty hard here. Edward does have a good disengage, but if COG catches enough poke damage on a Curse, they could just go.
There's a shockwave used. I wouldn't be surprised to see that arrow come from the backside anytime soon. Cop is almost there. Goes down and hits Nien as he gets into the front. It's going to be Big Fat repelling up. They may be able to take out Nien there. He will not be able to taunt for the team. It's all at the peel for Chouster and Big Fat now. Link is on the backside providing the shield utility. Looks like they lose one aside, and they keep going at it.
Pretty substantial wave clear from Curse as well, but a lot of ultimates burned. They did trade a mid laner for a very strong jungler there for Nien. Nien got a little bit antsy by going in for that taunt, trying to kill Secure onto a Karthus. Did end up costing him his life. I'd say a good hold overall by Curse getting out of that with a 1-for-1.
Both of these teams going in at the right times, but knowing their limits, which makes these fights so intense just to the last moment. And nail biters. 32 minutes into this, it's 10-3, and like I said, Curse can fight these. They just did it under a turret. They're down in gold. They've got a 1-to-1 fight. Now they're going to try to start taking this back in their favor.
Yeah, once the game is at 32 minutes, that 5,000 gold lead doesn't mean nearly as much as it could have a couple, 10 or 15 minutes ago. There are still a lot of benefits going for COG with that said, though. Double Lift has hit 3 very powerful items on Tristana. He's going to be going Bloodthirster next, and he's almost maxed range now, being level 17 with Tristana. So his range is all the way up to 694 right now, which is longer than Ashe. Cop is only hitting at 600. Cop can't realistically fight Double Lift. Cop is still Infinity Edge, Bloodthirster, like where's his attack speed? He really needs that on Ashe if he wants to make anything happen persistently in team fights. Voyboy, like we said from the start, is really the guy who's going to have to come up big for Curse here. Because COG, even though Link has farmed amazingly, and he will be that second threat, Orianna is unreliable. And if Doublelift gets shut down even a little bit, Voyboy, there might not be enough damage to kill him in later team fights. That's the hope that Curse has.
Pretty good aggression here. A very nice wall is going to slow St. Vicious down. There is just so much peel and protection that these guys have to get themselves out. We can see Big Fat not really pressured out there. CLG will easily be able to contest this.
This is not something CLG is choosing to contest, though. Curse just makes an executive decision and decides to go for this. And now we could very well see one of these dances in mid lane. This is very telling that CLG decided not to fight Curse there despite the gold advantage and instead are hoping to catch them in transit. Saint sneaks around the corner, withers down, maybe Curse goes in.
They still have the ultimate from Nian. Is it going to come in? It goes on to Doublelift. Shen is going to be in the fight. Nijacking taking the damage, goes on to Zanya's. Nobody is focusing Doublelift. He's going to be able to kill Nijacking. All of Curse left Nijacking. Going back to Link. It's going to be big damage. It's Voyboy and St. Bass Brothers going in hard here. Will they get the damage? Chowster somehow dodges that volley, but it's going to be Voyboy going in for the kill. Turns on to Big Fat. Not able to get it. Big Fat cleans him up. Nian now coming up big. He was in the fight, but it's Doublelift with a triple kill. Nian on his side to keep him safe.
And it's huge for CLG after the fact because these two can probably two-man that Baron. But let's take a look at that fight. The arrow actually hit Doublelift, which was scary, but then we talked about the shields on Doublelift. He was untouched, and then the fight turned on its head right there. Everyone on Curse chased down Link, who had actually already done his job with the Shockwave and with some clutch shields on Doublelift. And then the dive persistently by Voyboy was just trying to pick up a couple extra kills, but when he went in, there was no way he could actually finish off Doublelift. And since Cop doesn't have the items to take down persistently in teamfights, we talked about this, no attack speed, no armor penetration, he got completely outdueled at the end by Doublelift, and then because it was Shen and Tristana, that's a Baron for 2 on CLG, but mainly the gold, granted, is the benefit.
Well, a crazy fight for that much focus to be on Link on the chase. 15-6 here in the game. Curse wanted that one bad. They were salivating on it. 35 minutes in, and a 7,000 gold lead starts to increase in their favor. It's only one turret in the lead, but that one turret is one of the 2 second-tier turrets they have down over Curse, or CLG. Or yeah, Curse.
Yeah, Curse wanted that fight so badly. And I feel like they got baited into it a little bit because they went for that 5-man Baron, and they were thinking they wanted to fight a Dragon.
Right.
And when CLG decided not to take that, Curse was saying, yeah, we are stronger than them. Let's go fight them. They're scared of us. That wasn't the case. CLG has been stronger ever since the first blood that Big Fat OP helped Nian get in the top lane. And it's just been a matter of CLG picking their fights properly.
Let's see how they can choose to pick those fights. Remember, our matchup was Doublelift versus Cop. Right now, those two are 325 CS, 4-0 and 5, to 269 CS, 0-2 and 5. And we have to remember that they're not as well putting as much focus on Cop for when kills come around, when the CS comes around. It's good for him to pick it up, but he's that Ashe arrow utility.
The roles in the game are much different.
Yes.
Because Ashe is more of a supportive AD carry, whereas Doublelift on Tristana, and especially the team comp CLG is built around it, is the hyper carry. But you still got to call back to that featured matchup. Doublelift is dominated in this one. Just the item differentials are absolutely absurd. Doublelift can almost take on a team right now if he gets enough shields, which is why Curse isn't even thinking about team fighting right now. Voyboy trying to make a split push happen.
They have a real good split push going on here. They are definitely grabbing a turret, which means they have to put up all the bricks in front of the base. I don't think they're going to be able... No, it doesn't look like CLG wants it. They send Nian back, so it's going to be another teleport in fight if it does go down. Most of the summoners are up. We're just missing flashes on some of the supports. Cop is actually down all his summoners, and Cleanse is about to come up for Doublelift, so I wouldn't be surprised if they try to use that Baron before it runs out here.
It's a very interesting choice here by CLG because they've been slow playing this game a little bit. They have picked up a fair amount of kills. There are 15 kills, Riv. This is a fair bit of kills for 37 minutes right now. For CLG, in some cases. There's a lot of penetration on Link. Doublelift, the strategy has worked out so far for CLG, but he's still somewhat of a point of failure. I think if Voyboy gets crazy enough, potentially if he can finish that Trinity Force, he may actually be able to hurt Doublelift in these team fights. It's just going to be so hard to overcome the shields that Doublelift is able to get. The Stand United alone is, because of the Baron right now and the little bit of ability power Nien's picked up, that shield is actually doing 930 just from Shen. That's not counting Link's Orianna shield, which if I take a look at it here, is doing another 430. Or Lulu, who with the rank 2 ultimate adds 450 health.
And a shield.
That's 2 or 3 Doublelifts that you have to kill because of all the shields they're putting on top of him in a team fight.
And it's allowed him to build completely glass cannon.
Exactly. And if he does build a defensive item, like if his last item is a Guardian Angel, it's going to make the shields even more impactful for him, because he actually does close to enough damage now to be a very interesting choice to see what his 6th item actually is, if it's a defensive style item or if he just goes full offense. Like if he did a Blade of the Ruined King last item, he would just wreck people, and he might be able to with the amount of shielding that COG can provide.
It's like Baron only for a few more minutes, or actually, yeah, should be at least a few more. No, it has worn off on Double Lift, so that means it's down within the next 3 minutes. Will be up for these guys. It is a 7-minute respawn. Coming up on to 40 minutes in the game. You just saw previously it was about 36 or 37 minutes for Curse in their games and about 42 for CLG. So they're looking to be on par for that.
There's just a permanent giant amount of white health bars on Double Lift. The Orianna Ball, and when we were doing that math there, we didn't even talk about Chouster's help pick shield. It's going to be even more as Chouster levels up. CLG wants to slowly siege this one down. And actually, Nien is, for the most part, shut down Voyboy split push, which is extremely positive for CLG's chances.
Voyboy still trying to make, yeah, you are right. They are all on the other side of the map. Voyboy was down by that 2nd-tier turret in the bottom lane. Nien's got him all the way on the other side of the world now. And it looks like St. Vicious may want Double Lift. He was quite far out. Nijaki gets Shockwave. The Zanya is the only thing to keep him alive. There's one shield onto Double Lift. He is in perfect position to disengage onto St. Vicious. But again, Saint is the only one there, not able to get out. This has to be held in the bottom lane by Voyboy as well. We're not seeing that teleport come in just yet. In the end, feeling comfortable about staying as well.
And the start for that fight was great for CLG. It gives them the turret after this one. They didn't need the fight. In order for Curse to get an ideal team fight, they actually need Nijaki to make it into the center. And since Link got the Shockwave on Nijaki before that fight even started, it eliminated the chance of Curse to have a real solid team fight. Great move by COG, getting a turret, and then Yen winning that duel with Voyboy, pushing him all the way back to base.
He was starting to use that range to their advantage. Those sneaky plays by Link. We'll see if Double Lift can keep himself safe. We saw what Edward was doing to pretty much break up the entire fight, but again, Saint was in that front by himself, and it was Nijaki, like you said, got hit, was already half health. That's kind of been the situation for Curse to start these fights. Somebody is just a step out of position, loses half of their HP, and it turns the tide instantly.
Yeah, and Curse isn't making any really quick moves to go for fights. The one they did, they lost the fight and gave up Baron, so we can kind of see why they're so hesitant. On top of the fact they know how strong Double Lift is, and if they can't get their hands on him, they're not wanting to fight. That's why Double Lift jumped out of there at the instant that the engage started.
Well, good use of the window there by Curse. 3 of 6 dragons, as you can see. They know they had time to move as CLG was backing, so they're trying to grab something here, trying to go for the bushwhack and take CLG off guard.
So this fight's going to be, the next fight is going to be around Baron, and it's potentially game
They
deciding.
tried.
It's potentially game deciding right here, Rip, because it's 8,000 gold already, and Curse has yet to lose an inhibitor, but they have lost their outer shell of turrets, as well as CLG being so powerful right now and can take the Baron very quickly. CLG is going to be getting a lot of ward control around Baron, and if Curse wants to contest, they're basically risking a very difficult engagement, and they're giving CLG a lot of edges if they try to wander into the jungle and the Baron area.
7,500 gold lead coming in here for CLG. They've been using it quite effectively. Curse
Good hawk shot.
using all of the utility they can. That gets... Whoa, CLG could still try to initiate here. St. Vicious way far in front again. Where is Nijaki? He gets himself in the fight. The Shockwave actually helps a little bit, but everybody's able to stand around the Zanyas. They try to
can't get in.
back to Double Lift in the backside. Nian gets in. He will be going. St. Vicious is forced to run, turn tail from the fight. Voyboy gets up out of the polymorph, and it looks like he's going to keep going for Link. He's got that Grandmaster on. His ultimate is ticking, and he's Saint going down in that fight. Everywhere the action is going down. He may be able to go back. No, the Sunfire Cape definitely going to be able to take him out. He is forced to run on this. Does he have a ward for himself? He does, but Nian has taunts. He goes through the wall.
By the way, Double Lift is alive right now, and he is a very fast inhibitor pusher. Voyboy's the only one alive here. He's trying to duel down.
He jumped the wall.
He's actually out of mana right now. It doesn't matter what happens here for Voyboy, because Double Lift is taking inhibitors.
Oh, he blasts! Look how the golem is going to hit you. Curse Voyboy going after Nian now. The mana's not there. Voyboy gets the inhibitor, or rather Double Lift gets the inhibitor, I should say.
CLG's looking to end the game.
Big Fat LP onto the turrets of the Nexus with Double lift. These guys are gonna crush this. Like Chad said, that's like getting 3 recurve bows on Tristana's Q when you activate that. 90% attack speed for 8 seconds. That means your base, that means your Nexus. Counter Logic Gaming trying to take it out. The Buster shot. He goes for the stun up, and he can't get it as double lift, and Big Bad takes down the Nexus.
Very solid finish there by CLG. They took the team fights when they wanted them. They didn't let Curse force them into choices, and boy, did double lift get farmed. 7-0-6, yearly max items, 427 CS. That's the CLG style. It won.
That was quite definitive gameplay, and